Elimination Chamber takes place this Saturday in Chicago, Illinois at the United Center. This is the first time that this venue has hosted a WWE live event in over 30 years. Whenever WWE is in Chicago, they always go to Rosemont to run the Allstate Arena. But this is the first time in over 3 decades that they're back in the United Center, and it's a big show for that reason. And also, this is the road to WrestleMania, and the Elimination Chamber, as of now, I think it's almost become a top 6 show. I think, the big 4, then you have Money in the Bank, then put the Chamber. And I think a lot of that's really due to last year and the John Cena heel turn. And, last year's Chamber is, without question, the best Elimination Chamber PLE WWE has ever produced. And I don't think there's any chance that this show is better than last year's. And, last year in 2025, PLEs really weren't good. So, the Chamber, however, was just an incredible show, and I just don't think WWE can top it this year, not with this card at all. And there's not going to be an angle like what they had last year. So let's start off Women's Intercontinental Championship. We have Becky Lynch defending her title against her new rival, AJ Lee, who of course is married to CM Punk. AJ is a current Chicago resident, and I think she will go into this match and defeat Becky Lynch by submitting her for the 3rd consecutive time. Since coming back, since she's really returned since September last year, AJ has owned Becky Lynch. She beats her in every big match. She beats her up a lot. When she came back, she beat her up, gave her a nice shiner on her face, and then she submitted her in the mixed tag team match at WrestlePalooza, and then she submitted her again in the War Games match when AJ won the match for her team by making Becky tap to the Black Widow. Here, she will, for the 3rd consecutive time, make Becky Lynch submit to the Black Widow to win the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I am predicting AJ Lee to win this match. I really don't think Becky's going to win. The only way Becky keeps about, in my opinion, is there's some DQ/count-out finish to set up a match at WrestleMania, but I don't see that happening. I think AJ wins, and then Becky will eventually beat AJ at WrestleMania. I think it leads to another match at WrestleMania where Becky wins her belt back. But that's where we're headed here. I think AJ Lee is winning this match in Chicago on Saturday. Up next, the World Heavyweight Championship is on the line as the Chicago-made Punk, CM Punk, defends his title against Finn Bálor. And I'm talking about leather jacket wearing Finn Bálor, Judgment Day Finn Bálor. No, we're not getting the Demon. And I'll just talk about the crate in a second, but we're not getting the Demon here. People want the Demon to come out of the crate. I'll talk about who's going to be coming out of the crate, I believe at least, after I finish talking about this match. But Finn Balor's not the Demon here. Finn Bálor will just be Finn Bálor, and he will do what Finn Bálor always does, which is lose. Finn Bálor is going to lose to CM Punk again. Punk beat him in January for the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw. He'll beat him again here. I'm sure they'll have a good match. Fans will be into it. Of course, they'll be super into Punk. They love Punk there, and he'll have that. But I just don't see this going any other way. This is the lock of the night. This is a guaranteed 100%, not even a 1% chance for Finn. CM Punk defeats Finn Bálor. He wins, retains the World Heavyweight Championship. Then he goes on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. When WWE announced Punk versus Reigns the night after the Rumble, they weren't changing it at that point. That was the match we're going to go with. That's the Night 2 main event, in my opinion. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, and that's where they're heading. And Punk is going to beat Bálor at the Elimination Chamber. Now, let's talk about the crate. What's in the crate? What's in the box? Has anyone ever seen Seven? I hope it's better. Just don't let Kevin Spacey be in charge of what's going to be in the box or the crate this Saturday. I think what everyone, besides people who want the Demon, the guy most people would like to see and would get the biggest reaction by far is a returning Chris Jericho. If Jericho is in the crate, he's back. I just don't see it happening because I'm not sure when he's going to come back or if he's going to come back. He's still under contract to AEW based on reports that I've seen, so I don't think we're going to see Chris Jericho on this show, and I think it would be stupid for him to just return in this crate. I think this is going to be comedy. I think this is going to be stupid. I don't like where this is heading. I'm going to make my prediction of where I think this is going. I think it's Danhausen. He was in AEW for a while. I didn't watch much of him. I really don't care to see him in WWE. He just looks like some guy with face pains who's just going to be like a Mr. Iguana type of comedy stupid character. I really don't care about Danhausen in WWE. I really don't want to see him. I'm surprised they don't just put him into Wyatt 6 or something. I don't care about this. I think it's going to be him. He'll be the reveal, and it's because it's Chicago, people will recognize him, and it'll get a pop. If they did this angle this past Monday on Raw in Atlanta, no one would have cared. Now, granted, the crowd didn't seem to care about anything besides AJ Styles, but still, like, no one would react to it, and it would flop instantly. Here, it'll get a reaction, and it might carry over on the next few weeks at least, but I don't think it's a good idea for anyone to debut during WrestleMania season. That's the worst time to debut. You want to debut after WrestleMania. So I think it's Danhausen. I don't care that much. I don't care about Danhausen. And it would be cool if it's like a surprise, a genuine surprise, and it's like it's actually Jericho or someone. But I don't give a shit about Danhausen. But that's what I think it's going to be. Now we go to the two chambers. This is to set up two major title matches at WrestleMania. The winner of the Women's Elimination Chamber will face Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship, and the winner of the Men's Elimination Chamber will face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania for the undisputed WWE Championship. Let's start with the match that I think will most likely open the show. It's always one of them opens, one of them closes. I think the women are opening this year's Chamber show. And we have our Women's Elimination Chamber matchup. Now, I'm going to name who's in this in order of who qualified first. For the women's first, we have Tiffany Stratton. She takes on Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, who also takes on Asuka, Kianna James, and Raquel Rodriguez, who just qualified this past Monday on Raw. Who is going to win this match? So, let me just throw this out there. I think there are two women who have no chance of winning this match at all. I don't think Asuka's winning this match. I wouldn't complain. I like Asuka, but she's not winning. And even if she did, she'd lose at WrestleMania like she always does. So she's not winning. Kianna James, I don't think is going to win. I'd give that like a... maybe I'd give Asuka 0 if it was Kianna. Like maybe like 0.1%. So like no chance at all. I think they want to push her. I think she'll get a good showing here, and they really like Kianna James a lot. And don't be surprised if she actually gets a prominent elimination, eliminates someone else. Maybe it's one of the top 4, who I'm going to talk about later. She could. I think they like her a lot, and I think the reason they put her with Julia was never to help Julia, but was always just used. Julia was used to get Kianna James over, which seems like they're doing, and they really don't see much in Julia. That's where I think that this really is. And I don't see much in Kianna James, to be honest. But she'll have a good showing, but she's not winning. Now, here are the top 4. The 4 who I think could win. I'd give them all about 25%. I think this is the most unpredictable women's elimination chamber of all time. If you look back at every women's chamber match, you had Alexa Bliss the first time in 2018. Most people knew she was probably going to retain. 2019, most people knew Bayley and Sasha Banks were going to win the women's tag team titles, the inaugural titles at that time. 2020, everyone figured it was going to be Shayna Baszler. 21, Bianca... 21, there was none. There was a women's elimination chamber. 22, Bianca was the favorite. Everyone assumed that. 23, Asuka was the decent favorite. 24, Becky, everyone assumed she would win. And 25 last year, Bianca. Even though the match was tremendous, I don't think the result was ever in doubt. Most people knew Bianca would win. Last year was the best women's elimination chamber of all time. Here, they can't top that. They don't have the talent to top that. If they had Io Sky in this match, they could, because she's that good. But since they had to put Raquel Rodriguez in, I don't know why can't you just put Io in? Unless Raquel's winning it, then that changes things. But if she's not winning, Io should have been in this match, and she would have made this match a lot better than what it is. There's no way it's going to be better than last year's, which was the best women's elimination chamber of all time. So of these 4, again, I think I'd give them all 25%. I think Rhea Ripley has a path. I think they could easily do something where they take the belts off Rhea and Io this Friday on SmackDown. They have them lose to Lash and Nia, which I do not want to fucking see at all. I don't want to see that at all, but they could do that because of WWE, and then like the Bellas beat Nia and Lash at WrestleMania. That would be like the worst case scenario, but I mean, right now, currently under Paul Levesque's booking, nothing would surprise me right now. but that could happen. Or they could do this where they have Rhea win. She challenges Jade, but she also keeps the belts with Io, and then maybe on like night 1 she teams with Io to retain the belts, and night 2 she takes on Jade. They could do that, so I'm giving Rhea a real shot. And also, she is the top female star in the company, and they could have her win this match, and she could go on to face Jade. I think Rhea has a real shot to win. Next, Tiffany Stratton, who I'd also give her about 25% to win. Absolutely, they could go with her. She's a top female star. The betting odds have her as the favorite, which kind of surprised me in a way. But the one thing I would put against her winning is I don't think they want to do Tiffany and Jade again, because we've seen that match a million times and none of it was good. I mean, Tiffany beat her at SummerSlam and Jade won at Saturday Night's Main Event. They had a couple other matches on SmackDown, which I think got ruined by one way or another, by like interference and stuff. So here, like, I really don't need to see that match ever again. I don't want to watch Tiffany and Jade again, but there is a chance you could win because she is, again, one of the top female stars, and they might want to have her featured at WrestleMania, because if Tiffany doesn't win, there's not really a path for her at WrestleMania. She could actually not be on the card this year, because I don't think Julia's getting on the card, so I don't think there's going to be a women's U.S. title match. And we know Becky and AJ is probably a lock, and then you have Liv Raquel. Women's tag team match, that's going to be on the match with Rhea and Io and the Bellas, something like that. And then there's, like, if Tiffy doesn't get in, she doesn't win, she's not going to be on the card. I don't know if they want to WrestleMania without her, because she is one of the top female stars. So there's a chance, but I'm not picking her, as I'm not picking Rhea either. Then you have Raquel Rodriguez, who I think has a decent chance as well. The thing with Raquel, they could go on this the reaction, which I don't want them to, but they could have Raquel win, and instead of going after Jade, she goes after Stephanie. And, well, Liv's already going to face Stephanie. Yeah, but Raquel has every right to challenge Stephanie, as Liv does, because she's going to win the Women's Elimination Chamber, as Liv won the Women's Royal Rumble. Well, the Chamber winner has every right to choose their opponent at WrestleMania, like the Rumble winner does. So maybe she chooses Stephanie because she has unfinished business with her, and it becomes a triple threat match. And they do that at WrestleMania, and that's how they break up the Judgment Day. Then maybe Liv and Roxanne will eventually turn on Raquel. They could go in that direction at WrestleMania. That would not surprise me, because Triple H really likes Raquel Rodriguez and he wants to push her, and it wouldn't surprise me if he wants her featured and they want to make that a triple threat. I think it's better just to do Liv and Stephanie, because I think they've actually built up that match pretty well. And that wasn't a match I was super into seeing, but I think they've done a good job, at least the last few weeks. But they could go in that direction. I don't think they do Raquel and Jade. I don't think anyone wants to watch that. But I'm not picking Raquel. Here's who I also give about 25% chance to win, and my official pick to win this match, Alexa Bliss. It's not just because I really like Alexa Bliss. Well, yeah, it kind of is. Look, I figured all four of them have an equal percent chance to win. I'm just going to go who I want, who I like the most, and who I want to win. Always liked Alexa Bliss. This would actually be her second Elimination Chamber that she's won. She won the first ever one in 2018, and she cut that great promo afterwards. She's not going to cut that again this time, but I think Alexa, I'm just going to pick her. You know what? I think it makes the most sense, because she's not going to face Jade at WrestleMania. Jade and Alexa is like a David versus Goliath match. I don't think they want to do that. But I could see something where they have Jade and Alexa, and then they work Charlotte into it, and they have a triple threat. Jade versus Charlotte versus Alexa at WrestleMania for the title. I think Jade would retain in that scenario, but that's where I think they're going, because I don't think Alexa and Charlotte are going for the women's tag team titles again. But if they're not, they're going to, if Alexa doesn't win this match and Charlotte doesn't get to face Jade, then I think they will go for the women's tag team titles, because WWE will leave Alexa Bliss off the card, unfortunately, but there's no way they'll leave Charlotte Flair off the card. So I think either way, that's Alexa will be in a title match most likely. I hope, like, what I don't want to see is, like, say Raquel wins, then she challenges Stephanie, then like they do a women's number one contenders match and Charlotte wins, and like Alexa screws over Charlotte at WrestleMania and Jade retains. I don't want to see that, because that would leave Alexa off the card, but I think that's also a possibility. I'm just going to go with Alexa. I think Alexa wins and we get a triple threat, Jade, Charlotte, Alexa at WrestleMania. Now, let's go to the main events, the men's Elimination Chamber matchup. When I said that with the woman, there's like 4 potential winners here, I think there's just going to be 2. And like, we'll talk about who the 2 are, but like there's 4 guys here who have like 0% chance of winning. Here's who's in this match, and I'm going by who qualified first. For the men's elimination chamber, we have Randy Orton versus LA Knight versus Cody Rhodes versus Javon Evans versus Trick Williams versus the fucking Yeet Man, Jey Uso. So, unfortunately, with Jey Uso, when he comes into this fucking match, he's gonna run it back and do the Yeet just like he did for the Royal Rumble, which ruined that match. He eliminated Brock Lesnar during the fucking Yeet, the worst spot of the year so far. What a horrible fucking decision that was. Whoever booked that. That agent should be fired. Seriously, what the fuck was that? And then before that, before he ruined the Rumble, he also had to ruin Survivor Series, the War Games, when he went to the top of the War Games cage and started fucking yeeting in that. So I'm sure when Jay comes out, when he's comes out of the chamber, he'll run it back and they'll fucking yeet in the chamber. I just wish Randy Orton gives him an RKO and eliminates him like that to make Jay look like a jobber. But seriously, Jay sucks. Jay's not winning though. Trick Williams, who's very over right now, he's gone over. He's not winning either. He's done a really good job, though, of getting himself over. You have to give him that. I'm not the biggest fan of his wrestling, but yeah, one thing I really like is him making fun of Sami Zayn on SmackDown. That's actually been pretty funny, but Trick's not winning. Javon Evans, I'm sure, will have a lot of highlights in this match. They should let him go crazy. This is the match they really need to let him get himself over. It almost reminds me of like in Rey Mysterio one time in 2009. It was actually at No Way Out. They didn't let him just go crazy in that match. It needs to let Javon go fucking insane here. Let him do crazy stuff. Maybe he climbs to the top, climbs to like the center. Or actually, I don't even know if they even still have that structure because it's a new chamber. But like they should let him go to let him jump off stuff. Let him go crazy here. But he's not winning. Javon's not going to win. Then you have LA Knight, 0% chance he wins. There's actually a better chance Jey Uso wins than LA Knight. LA Knight's not winning this match. I don't need to get into it. So there's two guys who could win, Randy Orton or Cody Rhodes. For Randy, I think he has a decent shot. I'd give him about 40% chance, so there's definitely a shot he could win. I wouldn't mind seeing him win. I don't really care to see Randy and Drew at WrestleMania, but I think what's likely going to happen is there's going to be a multi-man match at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship with Drew. I think it could be Drew, Jacob, Cody, Drew, Jacob, Cody, Randy, Drew, Cody, Hell in a Cell. I wouldn't mind that, but that's probably not going to happen now. I think we're going to get a multi-man match. I think it'll be similar to last year where the multi-man match last year was a triple threat main event in night one. Here I think it's going to be a fatal four-way main eventing night one, then like the singles match will main event night two. I think that's what we're getting. And here I think we're getting, I think it could be a fatal four-way or a triple threat. I'm not sure which one. I think Randy has a good chance. I give him 40% chance, so a real shot, but he's still the underdog. My official pick to win the men's elimination chamber, I'd give him about a 60% chance to win. Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes is winning this match. I think it'll come down to Cody and Randy at the end. I think Cody Rhodes will actually eliminate Randy Orton to win the elimination chamber. And don't be surprised if Randy Orton turns heel on Cody Rhodes and leaves him laying, hits him with an RKO, maybe even a punt to end the show. And that's how they work Randy into the title match at WrestleMania. But I can definitely see that happening. I can see something where they want to end it with a major heel turn. Last year, it's not going to, again, there's nothing they can ever do to top last year's heel turn with John Cena turning heel, but it could be something where, last year was Cena turning heel on Cody. This year it's Randy Orton turning heel on Cody Rhodes. I can see that, and Randy stands over him to end the show, but I do think Cody will win the match. I think he'll win the Elimination Chamber and go to WrestleMania. So those are my predictions for Elimination Chamber, and this is the final PLE on the main roster, at least on the road to WrestleMania, which I'll say this, the Mania build this year has been underwhelming, just like it was for last year's. I think in some ways it's been even worse than last year's, and that's hard to say to top because last year had one of the worst Mania builds I've ever seen. I thought WrestleMania last year sucked, but yeah, we're heading into a similar direction here. I think WrestleMania 42 is probably going to be a lot more like WrestleMania 41 than WrestleMania 40 or 39. So I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest. I think we're heading into bad direction here, and I think the ticket sales reflect that. And here in Chicago, they're doing well, but like they're blocking out local bars and restaurants from playing the show because they want to maximize ticket sales. And the ticket sales are great, but like they're not at 17,000. They're not selling out, but they're still really good. But it's TKO. They don't want to leave one penny on the table, so it's what you're going to get with them. But that's Elimination Chamber this Saturday. Looking forward to it as we continue down the road to WrestleMania.